Aloha and mahalo for joining me. I'm Janet and welcome to the Call to Create podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and listening to this episode. And I have another holiday wish for you. And this wish is trust. And I want you to have trust, and I want you to be able to have trust in your life. So let me ask you, do you trust yourself? Do you trust people? Do you trust your family? Sometimes, we may not always trust our family, even though we grow up with them and we love them. You just never know. But trust is a very interesting topic because it can bring up a lot of emotions for people. A lot of emotions. And, like I always say, that we live our life according to how we grew up, how we were raised, the things we were taught, the things that we were taught to believe and do and not do. So then, sometimes when we become an adult, our life just seems complicated because sometimes we weren't taught the things that we needed to be taught, and sometimes we were taught things that weren't really good, or we were exposed to things that weren't really good. And that's because, there's so many different people and upbringings, but of course that's like for another topic and a whole nother podcast in itself. But think about it. Do you trust yourself? Do you actually know that you can rely on yourself and do the things that you need to do? Because that's kind of like the definition of trust. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's to rely upon or place confidence in someone or something. And also it could be in yourself. So are you one of those where you can, place confidence in yourself? And, we can't control anyone else, like I always mention, even though we would like to, I would like to, but we can't control anyone else. We can only control ourselves, what we say, what we think, what we do. And, are we reliable with ourselves because of the fact that we can only control ourselves? Are we good to ourselves where we can rely on ourselves and trust ourselves and place confidence in ourselves where we're going to do what we say we're going to do, and we become a person that other people can trust us and that they can rely on us too? And especially like if you have a job, you have to really be reliable at your job because you're getting paid. So sometimes, if we're having a hard time being reliable in our personal lives, sometimes it'll show up in our work or our job or in other areas. So think about that. I want you to really think about trust, because if you grew up in a house where there wasn't any trust or very little, it's really hard, I think, as an adult to have that trust in yourself and to trust other people. But now is a good time to start. You need to be able to do what you say you're going to do and start trusting in yourself. Especially, I want you to focus on trusting yourself that you'll do what is right. Because at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow and you go to sleep, you have to be able to live with yourself. You have to be able to know that you did the best that you could that day, and you have to be able to know that you did what is right. Because nobody wants to go to sleep with a guilty conscience. And, when you don't do what is right and do all the things that need to be done right, it's just easier all the way around. When you do what is right, then you become a whole different person when you start trusting in yourself and doing what is right. And I can't focus on that enough because there's so much craziness going on in the world, And there are a lot of people who are doing things that are not right. So think about it. Are you doing things that people can say, oh, yeah, I trust so and so because I know he or she is doing what is right and I can trust them and I can rely on them? Because, we have to live with people. We can't just live alone by ourselves on an island. Now, I live on an island here in Hawaii, but there's over 1.5 million people. So I have to live with people and around people. So I want to make sure that I always do what is right and know that my friends trust me and they can rely on me, and I'm not going to do anything wrong to hurt them or do anything that is not right. But you want to be able to place that confidence in yourself, because when you do, then it just becomes something that radiates from you. All that you are and all that you do and say just radiates the kind of person that you are. So think about all of the things that you're doing and saying, because you become a better person when you start paying attention to what you do and what you say and whether you do things that are right or not. Now, we are going to make mistakes. That's just part of life. But, you can always turn to God and ask for help. And if you've done something seriously wrong, you can ask God for forgiveness. And it helps you spiritually, mentally, and emotionally when you ask God for forgiveness. So when you need help, turn to God, because you want to be able to trust yourself the most. That's where you want to start. Start with yourself, because you can only control yourself, and work at it every day with trusting yourself and getting better, and start doing a little by little and doing all the things that need to be done so that you can trust in the person that you look at in the mirror. We have to look at ourselves in the mirror when we're getting dressed and brushing our hair and all of that kind of stuff. So figure out what kind of person you want to become and start trusting in yourself, and just take those little steps every single day, because you have worth and value. And just remember that you have worth and value and you matter. And thank you for being here. Happy holidays. And please share this podcast with anyone who you know would get great value out of listening to it. And please rate and review this podcast. I would appreciate it. And thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Aloha.